WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio. The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Thing up there when Pooky is with me, but he's with us on the telephone. Happy Friday, everybody. This is I'm Koz. This is WTF Nation Radio, and this is Friday Night Freedom. So that must mean it's Friday. It is Friday, May 14th, 2021. Now, I'd like to wish a 39th anniversary, wedding anniversary to my parents. Today's their anniversary. So that's kind of cool. My parents are some cool folks, man. So,
39 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So, you don't hear about that anymore these days.
Yeah, and she's my stepmom, too. So, yeah, I lost my mom when I was just a little kid. And then my dad ended up remarrying. So they've been together for 39 years. That's cool. I was actually an acolyte at their wedding. I remember the day. Altar boy. So what's up, Pooky? I did my my return to the airwaves last week with Shipwreck, and there was no Pooky to be found because you had stuff going on. You're doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing family things. My mom's works weird hours, so we went out for did an early Mother's Day kind of thing. So that's pretty much how it worked. No, everything's been the same old with me, man. Just work, and do things,
The rumor mill was going is the reason that you don't want to be on camera is because you shaved your beard. Is there any truth to that statement?
That is an absolute lie, and whoever is saying this, shut up.
So, dude, you're kind of in the middle of gas-free land.
Oh yes! Oh my God!
Has that caused a big heartache? I know you don't drive, but I mean getting around.
Well, for me, no, but for a lot of people, I know, yes, and it was just sheer insanity. Oh man, there was like lines of like cars, like the gas station down the road from us. People, it was like causing traffic jams. People trying to get gas. I think there was like my gas station up the road was like one of the last places that had gas, so everyone was just trying to get at it. And no, it's rough. There's
so many videos, and one of them is a lady at a Kroger gas pump filling up a plastic bag. The thing is, I think I saw that before. I don't know if that's current information, but if anybody knows her, you're supposed to. Okay, she was filling up this bag full of gas, and of course it was leaking, right? So she did the smart thing, which is what? She double bagged it. She double bagged it. Yeah. But everybody knows, if you know her, if she's your mom or your aunt or something like that, everybody knows you got to triple bag gasoline. But of all the videos that I saw, that was probably the most cringeworthy. Though I don't think that was current. I think that might have been from a previous crisis that we'd been going through. But there is a video that I saw. There's people hoarding gas, and I got a story of a Hummer H2 that burst into flames after the dude filled up 4 or 5 gallon cans, or a person, I don't know who it was, but filled up these cans and had them in the back of the Hummer, and then something bad happened, and now he doesn't have a Hummer anymore.
Well, just seeing the sheer stupidity. I saw a Twitter post floating around. This girl putting out a warno, pretty much like, "Hey guys, I drive a Prius. Don't put diesel in your gas car because it will not work." And she's like, "I just thought it would just make it louder, but it didn't make it louder. It just blew my engine up."
Yeah, it'll make it silent, is what it'll do. It's funny. I was dating a girl when I was stationed at Fort Campbell. I was dating a girl who was a student at Indiana University, in Bloomington. And she came down to Fort Campbell, picked me up. Or it was like early on a Saturday morning. And we were going to go drive up to the university, spend some time up there at her place. But, it was early. I was tired, so I ended up falling asleep. She was driving. It was her car. It was a little Geo Metro. And she pulled over to get gas. And then I'm hearing her fumble around with the gas pump. And I'm hearing clunk, clunk, clunk. She's got the gas thing open, and she's trying to fit the nozzle in there. A diesel nozzle is a little bit bigger than a unleaded gasoline nozzle. So she was trying to get
designed for that to keep the idiots from pumping it.
Oh, it didn't keep her from putting a couple of gallons of diesel in her tank. And it wasn't enough to ruin her car because we still made it to Bloomington. But I needed to rent a car and get back to Fort Campbell because her car had to go into the shop. She wasn't very bright. We didn't get married, so it was just a thing.
Gary Branscombe mentioned something I was about to say. If you really need a good container to carry gasoline in, those cheap styrofoam coolers.
You guys who has shown? I've got a slideshow of the memes and stuff. It's like everybody out there has already seen my slideshow. You've already nailed like 2 or 3 of them.
No.
So anyway, it's good to have you. It's good to have you back, Pooky, and I'm really happy that you have not shaved that majestic beard of yours.
No, I just didn't get on camera tonight because I've got legitimately people. I've got my internet service provider is crap, and their upload speeds are just funky as heck right now.
Are you out? Are you in a suburb, or are you out in the state? Really?
I'm in civilization. I live walking distance from a major university. Actually, I'm not major, but I'd say a big university, and I don't understand. I mean, I think what it is it's just South Carolina, and the IT guys around here are just a little slower, and they're about like 20 years behind the rest of the planet. Mm-hmm. So they're just not quite grasping on how fiber optic technology works, and they still everything's on a bus line. It's just crazy. But that's just where I live.
And it's amazing. I mean, it seems like it would be in people's best interest, not people as in consumers, but people as in businesses, like AT&T or whoever else your ISPs are. Not Spectrum, because Spectrum sucks, right?
Spectrum is what I'm on.
But man, it just I don't think it's a right to have internet access, but dude, if you're going to pay for it, you should get what you want, what you're willing to pay for.
I really think it should be treated as a public utility kind of at this point, because 99% of everything functions around the internet.
Exactly, banking and everything. Everyone's got their everything's online. It's all we're waiting for is someone to get the ransomware. Uh-oh. Let's just talk about this gas thing going on here. So everybody knows, unless you're living under a rock, even if you're living under a rock, you probably have heard about the gas crisis. I hate the word crisis. But
that's a catch. It's one of those media catchwords. It was just stat foo, pretty much.
Yeah. So folks on the East Coast have been enduring gasoline shortage. Colonial Pipeline Corporation got hacked by the dark side hacker group, and their machines were infected with ransomware. CIA. I saw a couple memes. No, it was Cat Turd on Twitter. On Twitter, that was saying, I hope. I wonder what the CIA is going to do with that $5 million that they just got. So Colonial Pipeline Company paid nearly $5 million to they call them Eastern European hackers, but they're
Eastern
dark side. They're Russian.
Russia's in Asia, ain't it? No, part of it is. Part of it. It's kind of split down the middle, right? I don't know how that works, but
so anyway, the Colonial Pipeline did pay the $5 million in ransom to the dark side on Friday, contradicting reports earlier in the week that the company had no intention of paying any extortion fee to help restore the country's largest fuel pipeline. Now I'm going to pop a map up there. That goes from Beaumont, Texas.
Whole I-95.
No, that's corridor. Like Houston. That's Houston all the way up to New Jersey.
The whole I-95 corridor was affected by this, pretty much.
That's crazy. That goes starts in Texas and it goes through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. What is that? Massachusetts, and then into New Jersey, and probably touches on New York. So that's pretty bad. That's a very healthy hit when you don't have any fuel going into that part of the country. Now, it's a really productive part of the country too. So that kind of
so that's what I was saying. The I-95 corridor is, I think, don't quote me if I'm wrong on this, but it's a big majority of our GDP comes from the I-95 corridor, and if you just screw with the fuel, that screws with everything at that point.
So 95 is north-south between Florida, and it probably goes all the way up.
The whole way down through Virginia, down through North Carolina, South Carolina, down through Georgia, down for Florida, pretty much. I mean, I don't know if Florida was really affected by it. I've heard people talking about there were some shortages because people started panic buying, but
that's exactly.
I think pipelines are a little bit different down that way because it comes out of like Tampa and I think Miami, like the big ports out of that. But
yeah, they got like 90%, and I've got the deets on this. 90% of Florida's gasoline comes on a boat, and then it gets distributed via tanker truck.
Yeah.
So anyway, the company paid the ransom in cryptocurrency within hours after the attack, underscoring the immense pressure faced by the Georgia-based operator to get gasoline and jet fuel flowing again to major cities along the eastern seaboard. A third person familiar with I hate these nameless people. A third person familiar with the situation said the U.S. government officials were aware that Colonial had made the payment. Once they received the payment, the hackers provided the operator with a decrypting tool to restore its disabled computer network. The tool was so slow that the company continued using its own backups to help restore the system. One of the other people familiar with the company's efforts said the same. A representative from Colonial declined to comment. Colonial said it had begun to resume fuel shipments around 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. But it's going to take a while to get back to that baseline that they were at.
I was trying to explain that earlier is, the pipelines might be running, but because of the supply shortage, it's going to take a good minute to get everything.
There were people that I've seen conversations online like, well, the pipeline's running. Why are the gas stations still out of gas? And I'm like, the pipelines don't fill up the gas pumps.
Nope.
The pipelines go to a fuel. They go to a fuel farm. From the fuel farm, they get customized and chemicals added, and they
additives.
They make it Shell, or they make it Citgo, or they make it Texaco, or they do their things to make them correct, and then they got to get put on a truck, and they got to go to these pumps or these gas stations. And
another thing people aren't realizing too is they're like a big. I think CNN, one of the big talking heads a couple of months ago, were talking about a shortage of hazmat drivers.
Oh wow.
Yes, that kind of like no one's talking about that. They have a shortage of CDL hazmat drivers, and
is that because of the pandemic thing, or is that?
I don't know if it's because of the pandemic. I don't know really what it's all about. But I know they were talking, like CNN was talking about, expect gas shortages. They were saying this months ago. Then this happened, and it kind of like put the nail in the coffin at that point.
So Tina Ramos's tinfoil hat makes her say that it makes her feel like it's a rehearsal for a show of force. I don't know. I think it was a bad move to pay. I don't know. You either you get it's you
$5 million is chump change to these guys.
Extremely,
it is, really.
Extremely. But then what do you do? It's like, well, crap. That was easy. Let's do it again.
Guys. Fire your whole IT department and hire better IT guys.
Get rid of every piece of computing equipment that you have and replace it, because this is all compromised. It's all compromised. And who's to say in that decrypting tool, who's to say there wasn't a worm in there that's just going to go there and
just sitting there chilling at that point. But no, what I was hearing is the reason they got the ransomware in the first place is because they were using an old
outdated version of Excel or something like that.
Oof.
It's like these companies make billions of dollars a year. They should have like the best top of the line computing technologies. It just blows my mind. It's just this whole thing.
I mean, even in my job, we go through obsolescence issues, and we have things that are made and our programmers write, and they're using an operating system. Let's just call it XP or Windows 95 or whatever, but it's not necessarily compatible with the newest versions, and it just takes a lot of re-engineering to get code to work on the newer operating systems. So there's, it was probably easier, and I'm saying that in air quotes, for them to just maintain their Windows XP people with a bunch of smart XP programmers. But then, when stuff like this happens, you get no industry support. Microsoft couldn't say, oh yeah, let me help you fix that, because XP is no longer being supported at all. Not even a little bit.
It blows my mind that the entire pipeline is actually running on a Windows-backed infrastructure. It just that hurts me a little bit, so much.
Pay the fee and then follow the money.
Yeah, Unix, Linux. There's a lot of better things out there to run an infrastructure off of than Windows. But I'm just saying.
Veteran trash talk. I just learned how to combine columns in Excel. You're hired. Oh. So here I am wondering. Okay, the flow of fuel is very essential to aircraft. Airplanes need.
Yeah,
they need
very much so.
gas.
But they have stockpiles of it there though. A lot of places like the big airports have their own stockpile of it.
Do you know how much a 737 burns a minute?
I wouldn't even know. That's more your expertise.
They're gonna go through several pounds a minute. I don't care how many tanks you've got, man. With all the air traffic that the United States has, you're not going to be able to maintain that. That's not maintain. You cannot sustain.
We wouldn't have this problem if we had high-speed electric rail cars. Just saying. CIA op.
So here I am thinking, okay, and this is me. This is not fact. I don't think this is out in the news or anything. This is just what I think, and this is what I heard was that they asked President Biden for some assistance on this, and President Biden said to just basically, this is a private industry matter. They should be able to solve their own problems, and that's when they turned.
That's legit.
And paid the ransom.
No, that's legit. I mean, me as a government official, your private entity comes to me and says, "Hey, we done fucked up. We want your help. Screw you." That's
which is kind of a dick move, but I think it's a right move, because if you do it for one company, you got to do it for everybody. Or where do you draw the line? So
it's not a taxpayer issue at that point. I'm sorry.
So Bloomberg News asked President Joe Biden if he was briefed on the company's ransom payment, and the president paused and then said, I have no comment on that. Ann Neuberger is the White House's top cybersecurity official, and she declined to say whether companies should or should not pay ransomwares. She says, quote, "We recognize, though, that companies are often in a difficult position if their data is encrypted and they do not have backups and cannot recover the data." So she answered with a non-answer. The hackers, which the FBI have linked to a group called the Dark Side, specialize in digital extortion and are believed to be located in Russia or Eastern Europe. So here's an update to the story. And this just came off the presses hour-ish ago. Oops, that's not it. The servers, actually, I'm going to look for this story, but the servers for the Dark Side went dark. Someone got to the Dark Side servers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this has got to be.
I gotta call some of my friends that I know and ask some questions.
So servers for the Dark Side were taken down by unknown actors on Friday, today, a week after the cyber extortionist forced the shutdown of a large U.S. pipeline in a ransomware scam. Recorded Future is the name of a security firm, said in a post that the allegedly Russian-based DarkSide had admitted in a web post that it had lost access to certain servers used for its web log and for payments. Accessed via Tor on the dark web, the dark side site address showed a notice saying that this cannot be found. Recorded future threat intelligence analyst Dmitry, golly, it looks like his last name says Smiley Anus. It's Smiley Anets. Smiley Anets said he found a Russian language comment on a ransomware website, ostensibly from Dark Sup, described as the operator of the dark side. A few hours ago, we lost access to the public part of our infrastructure, namely blog payment server, DOS servers, and DOS servers. The dark side operator also reported that cryptocurrency funds were also withdrawn from the gang's payment server, which was hosting ransom payments made by the victims. Uh-oh.
Oh, this totally sounds CIA now. 100%.
Check this out. This last little paragraph is kind of cool. Hey, while I do that, because we're Americans, we kind of deal with situations with memes and stuff. So I'm gonna scroll some memes while I'm finishing up this story. While there is no evidence of who might have forced down DarkSide's website, the Twitter account of a U.S. military cyber warfare group, the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade, retweeted the Recorded Future report today. So I don't know. I wonder. DarkSide, which only resurfaced online late last year, was behind the attack on the Colonial Pipeline that forced the shutdown of its network shipping gasoline, diesel, and aviation fuel across much of the eastern half of the United States. After DarkSide froze Colonial's computer systems last week, it demanded millions in ransom to unlock them. Colonial shut down its pipeline, sparking fuel shortages and long gas lines at stations across much of the Southeast. It didn't just affect the gas supply. Definitely affected the Southeast, but Florida wasn't among one of those states. But there's hoarders. There's people out there just filling up gas cans,
filling up their basement, pretty much.
Exactly. Oh, I saw that. I did see that one meme. That guy had like a flooded basement and says, "I'm almost done filling up my basement with gasoline." Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
So here's the video. Like I said when we started this, there's all kinds of videos out there. Just little of people being stupid at the gas pump. Like this lady, it looks like she's filling up a laundry basket with gasoline. I don't know how true that is, or if that's just like a photo op. Here, take a picture of me doing this stupid thing. But here's my favorite video. This poor guy just emptied his house full of Tupperware. He's there. It might take a couple seconds for it to get to you. But this poor guy, he's got gloves on. He's not smoking cigarette, and it doesn't look like he's got a cell phone in his hand. So he's being safe. But it looks like he took all the Tupperware containers out of his house.
Dear Lord.
And he's filling them up little bit by little bit. He's spilling gas all over the place, man.
Just remember, people. These people vote. Wow.
I guess I'm guilty. I didn't hoard any gas. I was actually full. My tank was full. But I did notice the prices jumped up around 50 cents a gallon here, and I'm in the north central Texas area, Dallas-Fort Worth metro. So yeah, it wasn't bad. We never ran out of gas, but the prices were up.
Someone was saying gas prices in some places in Virginia, they hit like $7 a gallon.
I saw $6.99. I saw $6.99 in Virginia. But there were people like in Reno, Nevada, nowhere near any of this, and their gas was like $5.99 a gallon.
Well,
I think that would keep people.
Toilet paper shortage, right? You know how that started back last year when there was no toilet paper we found. Yeah. It wasn't an issue in the U.S. It was an issue in Australia, but somehow, like through social media, it bled over, and everyone started thinking, "Hey, there's a shortage of toilet paper. Because Australia was legitimately having a shortage because of like cutoffs between trade with China or whatever it was. Yeah. But that bled over and caused people to panic buy it. We didn't see toilet paper on the shelves for like, what was it, like almost 6 months?
That's why I like going to work, because there's lots of toilet paper. I didn't have an issue, man. It's just me. I buy the big combat pack, and that lasts me forever.
I like what Mike Eldred said is, I hoard whiskey. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
All the whiskey hunting.
Damn right, Mike. So we had another person, a hoarder. They called it the news. The news called him a hoarder, or them. And it says a Hummer burst into flames on Wednesday after the driver filled up 4 containers of gasoline at a Florida gas station. Crews from Citrus County Fire Rescue were dispatched to the fire at a Texaco Food Mart in Homosassa. The driver of the Hummer H2 had just filled up gas containers and stored them in the back of the vehicle when they burst into flames, the newspaper reported. How do they just burst into flames?
There's a bunch of things. I mean, I've literally smoked cigarettes while pumping gas. I think it's because he was just driving a shitty ass H2 is what it is. That's my opinion. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking, gasoline's not going to spontaneously combust unless there's like static.
That's why you don't hold your cell phone while you're pumping gas.
Mike Eldred, who still drives an H2?
Drives an H2, right? That's what I was saying. A shitty ass H2.
Yeah, Mike, there are 2 there's one WTF Nation Radio and one U.S. Army WTF Moments Facebook page that are live right now, along with where's my cover sheet? I got all the periscopes, which is Twitter. I don't know where my cover sheet is. Oh yeah, Twitch, YouTube, Facebooks, Twitter, TuneIn, the TuneIn app. We are everywhere.
We are omnipresent. Is that the
That is a very good use of the word. Citrus County fire officials said that one person was injured but refused to be transported for medical treatment. The extent of the person's injuries is unknown. Florida State Fire Marshal arrived at the scene to conduct an investigation, and officials with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection were notified to coordinate cleanup of the fuel spill. And these are statements from AAA. They interviewed some guy from AAA, and he said that 90% of Florida's gas supply comes in on cargo ships to the state's many different ports. Tanker trucks then deliver the gasoline to pumps across the state. This is not a refinery issue. Gasoline is still being made, and fuel continues sailing through the Florida ports, regardless of whether Colonial Pipeline is operational or not.
Well, panic, people, panic.
Yeah. I mean, when 10% of your fuel supply is down, I mean, I imagine in the Panhandle, you probably get some gas from that pipeline, but in the main part of Florida, the peninsula, you have nothing to do with that pipeline. Like zero.
I know what happened. The H2 smoked meth and it blew up. Problem solved.
I don't know, dude. After I got out of the Army, I don't care how many movies Arnold Schwarzenegger makes. Nothing is going to make me want to ride in a Hummer ever again. That's like the most uncomfortable.
10 years in the military. Every time you get that thing up to 55 miles an hour, you feel like
you're re-entering the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, yes. Shit's flying off. Who wants to drive that shit?
I imagine a civilian Hummer is probably maybe a little more comfortable, but probably not a lot. I can't imagine it being very comfortable to ride in.
So who wants to pay that fuel price, though, man? Who wants to pay that kind of shit? Diesel ain't cheap.
It was like one of those memes that was there. It's like, you get the Tesla drivers when there's a fuel shortage and they're all smiles. And then it had them looking like peasants when it said, "Here's the same Tesla driver when the power grid goes down, they can't recharge their car." I guess I got the best of both worlds, man. I got a hybrid.
So I was reading something, hydrogen powered cars. Whatever happened to that?
Something about driving around a bomb doesn't turn me on very much.
Well, I mean, it's hydrogen. I mean, same as gasoline at that point. I mean, think about it.
But Bob says those aren't real Hummers; those are Ford Explorers with a Hummer body attached to it.
There you go. Well, my cousin used to drive around in one, and I used to give him crap about it. Yeah, but teach their own. I've seen some civilians driving around in legit like 1114. I think that's cool, except I steal your car in a split second if you don't lock it down. But just
I think it has. I don't think it has that little toggle switch for starting it. It may have a key.
No, I walked up. Was down in the Keys. This guy was driving around 1114, and he had legit. It was 100% legit military. It had a hand start.
Okay.
Weird button thing, and he's like, yeah, I don't really worry about it because most idiots around here don't know how to start it, which is true. Which, I mean, it's kind of an anti-theft device at that point. But like an idiot like me who's been in the military would be like, well, free car at this point.
Remember when the protests were happening and they're like, we're going to deploy the National Guard, and then there was jokes on, okay, please folks, don't go stealing their Hummers.
My favorite one was if you need to disable the vehicle, there's a little green book in there. All you gotta do is just pull the green book out, and that vehicle can't drive nowhere.
It's
at that point,
automatically deadlined if you don't have a logbook. That is true. So I was gonna start. We're kind of blowing through the news here.
Dear Lord,
I thought we had a lot.
Fast.
I thought we had a lot.
Fast.
I had a lot of stories, and I think Shipwreck and I did a pretty good job last week of going, pacing ourselves. But wow, just kind of talking and stuff. So I don't know. I think it's going to be probably, a couple weeks. You think it'll be about a couple weeks before everything gets back to normal? You think gas prices will go back down to where they were, or do you think they'll be?
Gas prices are definitely not going down. This is my grandfather was talking about I guess like late 70s fuel crisis, and he said it was convenient that once it hit I think it was like $2 a gallon or something like that, then all of a sudden, there's no more problem here. It was just a way to raise the prices. I really think that's what it was. My personal tinfoil hat is this is kind of like a CIA op that's going to help push that whole new Green Deal infrastructure bill. That's just me. That's just what I think. I'm crazy. Yes. Is it true? Maybe not. But it's my 2 cents on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I never accept things for the way that they appear. I usually wait to see what's happening. And now this alleged hacker group, which is a legit hacker group. I've heard of them before, as young as they are, and I'm not really a tech person, not like OPSEC Monkey. But I've heard of them before. Their names have been in circles that just mentioned. There's something. There's not much happens in this country without CIA, FBI, whatever, knowing about it or. I don't know. I
don't trust the FBI period anymore.
I don't. It's not that I don't trust them. It's just like whatever they say, that's not the truth, and that's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's not.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like that.
Conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy theorists. Don't listen to us.
But I think a lot of people feel like that, especially after the last year and all this mask and don't mask and wear 4 masks and now we don't have to wear a mask if you've been vaccinated. So yeah, the government can actually no. Fauci came out. Did the CDC come out first, or did Fauci come out?
It was CDC kind of the first rules they put out is like, if you're vaccinated, you still got to wear a mask in these areas. And now they've kicked the can again, and now it's like, well, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. No shit. Any normal human being can figure that out. Oh crap, we're talking about this. Maybe we might need to change the subject before we get to boot. But yeah, it's just it seems like every 2 days it's different. A different policy. So who knows what tomorrow's going to be next? We're going to be wearing a snorkel mask by the end of the year. I don't know.
I think there's a dichotomy here, because you get people that live in states like New York and Washington State and California, and coincidentally they're blue states. Not saying one thing or another, but it's like they've had the
thing is a coincidence.
The boot heel. It's like the boot heel of government on the backs of the business's neck, holding them down. And schools not going back. You got to wear a mask even if you're exercising outdoors. I thank God I live here in Texas, and that dumb shit never happened. I see idiots. I do see idiots driving around alone in their car with a mask, and I'm not going to judge. If you want to wear a mask, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you.
I've done that, riding in the car with a mask on, but it's because I had forgot to take my mask off.
And even at work, there's you got to wear a fucking mask, and I think probably 90% of us are vaccinated. A couple people aren't, just because of other health reasons, but everybody has a mask. Are they being worn properly? Probably not. I know I don't. I don't wear a mask properly.
You wear glasses, so you can't put it over your nose because it steams your glasses up, right?
When I'm doing certain things, I do need to have the full range of sight that I have. So I will take my mask completely off. But if I'm working close to somebody, I have a very small team, so we have. Inside our lab, we have a hydraulics area, we have a generator area, we have a computer area, a cockpit area, and it's just, we're all pretty spread out. So for the most part, we don't really wear the mask. If we're in a meeting, if we're in close proximity to someone else, yeah, we'll put on the mask, because that's what the company policy is. You can't, that's way above my pay grade. If that's the company policy, that's the company policy. I'm not going to buck it.
If what the boss says, the boss says. That's right. The way it works.
Right.
That's
I don't.
different.
If I don't want to wear a fucking mask, I don't have to work there.
You get it into like what I don't know if you've seen that tweet that Biden put out, and people are just like bucking them, like where it's like, you either have a choice, you wear a mask or get vaccinated, and people are like, well, no, I can do whatever the hell I want. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my daddy.
You can't dictate the lives of private citizens, and you can't compel. And the thing is, when all this started, they're just like, we're not going to compel behavior. We're not going to make you get a vaccination. We're not going to make you do this, but slowly but surely, it's really looking like people are getting made to do things. Their behavior is being compelled by getting this vaccination, or wearing a mask and stuff.
CDC bracelet that they were talking about?
No, I didn't.
I don't know if it was true or not. I was just kind of like flipping through or whatever it is, but apparently they're like working on like it looks like this little blue bracelet that keeps your vaccine records on it, so it makes it easier for you. Like, say if I'm going to go on a flight or I'm going to go on a cruise, you wear this bracelet and they scan it, and I'm like, are we getting to this point now?
Even it's like papers, please.
Papers, please. And so I was talking about, like, the crazies are thinking that the vaccine's going to give you what's the crazy shit, like the 5G virus or something. I don't know whatever they believe, and that to me is crazy, but. I mean, we're getting to the point now where they are trying to microchip us so they can keep track of our virus.
It's vaccination. I got vaccinated only because my Christmas plans last year were canceled because I didn't want to go, and my parents are up in age. I didn't want to be the guy that got the family sick and killed mom and dad. But I just want to make sure I take every precaution. But now, even though, I'm vaccinated and I can't see in the dark, which is, I was really looking forward to having night vision or being able to like jump really high. I got none of those abilities, so I feel cheated a little bit. But it was like 2 or 3 weeks after I got my second vaccination, Pfizer came out and they're just like, we think that 6, 8, 10 months after you get that second dose, you're going to need a booster. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, look at the vaccine card. It says first dose, second dose,
and then there's like 5 extra lines on the bottom of that.
Yeah. So I think it's just money. I hate to say it. It's just you got a private company that's now pushing out this vaccine that the government's paying for 100% pretty much at that point, and they're just like, hey, free money at this point, and they're racking it in.
I read a story that Moderna finally turned a profit in 2020 because of this vaccine.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
So was it Johnson & Johnson still being held back, or did they finally decide it's good to go?
They re-released it. I think Spanky and Ice talked about it last night. Ice got it, and apparently he got the munchies, and he was like devouring everything salty.
Oh, and the next thing, he's craving blood and human flesh. He's turning into a zombie. You better watch out for Ice from here on out.
And I think Spanky said her side effect from the J&J was she went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night, and she was cold. And then she got up, and took like ibuprofen or aspirin. No, she said Tylenol, and went back to sleep, and that was that. I had the Pfizer. There was I can't attribute it to the vaccination, but these are things that happen to me that don't normally happen. I'd never get headaches. And like about an hour after my first shot, I got a super sharp headache for a very short amount of time. It was like a 30-second headache, and it was just a super, super sharp pain like in the middle of my forehead. And that was it from the first shot. The second shot, I got the second shot. It was a Friday afternoon. I went after work, got the shot, went home. I came home. I ate dinner. I took a shower, and it's like 8 o'clock. I'm just like, I'm kind of tired. I'm going to go to bed. And I ended up sleeping from 8 o'clock that night until probably 9 o'clock the next morning, man. It was a good solid, 13 hours of sleep. But I can't say that was because I got the vaccination. But that's what happened.
You could have been just super tired.
I've been working a lot of hours, so I didn't put, I'm not putting 2 and 2 together like that. So I don't know. But I'm fine. I'm healthy. I guess we'll see.
I'm just waiting. Like I said, come 5-10 years from now, the crazy pills are going to try to push on people for these weird diseases that are popping up out of nowhere. But that's just my, I have zero trust for big pharmaceutical companies because they're notoriously, look at the whole opioid crisis kind of bullcrap. I don't trust them. They're just there to make money off of people. They're not there to cure people. They're there to make, patients pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of truth to the fact that doctors are going to be out of business if everybody's cured of all the diseases, cancer and AIDS and whatnot, HIV. I've got family members that are doctors. I don't necessarily buy into all of that, but there are some dirty ones. I mean, especially in West Virginia, had the highest amount of opioid prescriptions filled.
Oh yeah, what do they call? What do they used to call them? Pill farms. They were brutally notorious down in Florida too.
Florida was really, really bad.
Jake says I need a bubble.
You do need a bubble. I need to get with our pop culture warrior. He knows how to make the bubbles.
Yeah, I get that. Okay.
So I can put you in a bubble.
Oh, I just need no, I don't want a bubble. Give me a pentagon. I'll be happy with that.
There's ways to do that. I just don't.
No one sticks Pooky in a bubble. No one.
Was that no one puts baby in a corner?
Exactly.
So it's 10 minutes to the hour. let's talk about, and this is gonna lead up to the first story in the next hour. We're gonna talk about cryptocurrency. Not a whole lot. We're not going to talk a whole lot about it. There's stories about it, but I guess we'll use this time to kind of let's talk about it a little bit. There was, and we've talked about it a little bit on the show before. The atmosphere of what cryptocurrency has exploded. It used to be you would ask someone, name a cryptocurrency, and they might either say what the fuck is that, or they would say, oh, Bitcoin. But now there's all kinds of different ones, not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. Those are the big three, I guess. But now there's Dogecoin, whatever.
Doge is number 4. It was number 4.
It was number 4.
But a meme is now worth more money than some people. So
I call them fart bucks. It's because it doesn't make sense to me, because it's just like, here, I made a shiny object, and how much is this worth to you? Oh, I'll give you a fraction of a penny for it. Okay.
Well,
you give me a
same
fraction
with the U.S. dollar, though, if you look at it like that. I mean, our dollar is not backed up by anything. It's just our government prints it off and says, hey, this is worth $1. And people are like, oh, okay, well, it's worth $1. You don't really. That's the gist of it.
Well,
it
was not that it was worth $1. It was worth whatever the price of goods and services are, but it was backed by the gold standard. That's no longer the case.
Used to be. Now it's fiat money, and that's why I'm just. I don't want to get into that. I don't even want to get into that.
But it's just like hey, can your kid come over and cut my grass this weekend? I'm going to be out of town. Well, sure. How much is that going to cost me? Well, if you could buy him a pizza and supply the gasoline, he'll cut your grass.
That's currency, though.
That's currency. That's currency. That's worth something. People are doing things and they're accepting payment into things that they find value in. And that's all that cryptocurrency, in my opinion. I am not a financial advisor at all. Whatever you hear coming out of my mouth hole is strictly opinion. It's not based on any kind of education at all. This is just me sitting on the sidelines trying to figure this game out. So I ended up, I set a bar. I said, okay, as soon as Dogecoin reaches 50 cents a coin, I'm going to buy in. This is the amount of money that I'm willing to lose. And so I bought in at 50 cents.
As in all investments, everyone should set a bar and what they are willing to lose with an investment.
And I've been tempted. I was really tempted, because I bought in, it went up, and then it went back down way below, what I paid for it, and then it went back up again. And Elon Musk went on that run up to Elon Musk being on Saturday Night Live. Dogecoin went up to 72 or 73 cents a coin. And that's 20 cents more than what I spent to get in. And that was a good chunk of change. There are people out there. There is a senior investment banker for emerging markets from Goldman Sachs that turned in his paperwork and quit because of the money he made off of Dogecoin.
I bought in at 0.009, I think, is when I've initially bought. And I've been buying dips. Like this recent dip. Like, I didn't throw in money on this recent dip because that freaked me out a little bit. This last one freaked me out because I don't know, that had me scared a little bit because all crypto was going down. I was seeing a bubble pop, but I guess it didn't. Everything's bouncing back now.
Everything across the board, all the cryptocurrencies were in the toilet. And I say toilet. So Bitcoin, it went from $58,000 to $56,000 a coin.
It went from 60,000 at the peak of this year, I think, down to 40-some thousand. Like, there's $20,000 per coin lost at that point.
But then it bounced back up, because I looked at my Doge coin today, and we're back up around 50 cents, 54 cents. So it's cool.
No.
It's cool. I'm gonna let it ride. We're gonna talk about some Elon Musk news, and it's kind of weird how one man and his opinion can affect the crypto market just like that. And I've got some details in the story, which we're going to have. We're going to take a break here shortly, and we'll talk about that. I've actually got some really good stories, really good information. But it's just it's weird. It's almost like how one person can affect the market with just an opinion or just a statement. I don't get it. I think Elon Musk is a very smart individual. I think he's down. We're not talking SpaceX here, but he's just a down to earth person. He's a very practical person, and he's a very matter of fact person. Never met the man personally, but it just seems like he kind of looks at things in a different way. And I kind of appreciate his opinion. So I guess that's how people would just go, well, look at what Elon said. But let me see if I can form this thought. Elon Musk says something that is favorable towards a cryptocurrency, so then the value goes up. He says something and the value goes down. Who was the last Fed chairman? That old dude, the really, really old guy. He would, it's like, hey, this Fed chairman, something fell in the freaking shower, and then the value of the dollar hit the damn skids. Do you remember what his name was?
Can't think of it. Well, I mean, if you're talking about Elon Musk and everything like that, there was another guy who posted something in, was it Washington Post or New York Times back in the 20s, caused the entire stock market to collapse. It was freaking nuts. But some people have the power to do that.
Well, even President Reagan said the same thing. He was like, we're getting ready to launch our missiles to Russia. He said that in not so many words. He just kind of, during a speech, he just let that, we're scrambling our bombers or something like that. And then all of a sudden we're at DEFCON whatever, and missiles are getting ready to fly, and he was just trying to make a joke. So yeah, man, it's just I'm still gonna call them fart bucks. My fart bucks is called Dogecoin.
I mean, value is intrinsic, because we can talk about after the break or whatever it is. We could talk about the NTFs or whatever, NFTs or whatever it is, and I could explain that all to you if you want to.
The reason I bought into it, I kind of set a bar. I said, okay, Koz, I'm going to buy in at 50 cents a coin, because of the fact that it seems like after 50 cents, that's like a threshold where this is it's a viable thing. People find value in it. They honestly find value in it. It's not just a joke. When that happened, it was around May 4th. Just prior to that, certain companies out there were like, we will accept Dogecoin as payment for
there's on the NFL
Major League Baseball. Alan Greenspan, thank you, Mike Eldred. Alan Greenspan was the Fed chairman. It's like he had a wet fart. So here's the dollar, the value of the dollar sank. Alan Greenspan's got a cold. The value of the dollar goes off. It's just Alan Greenspan played bingo this weekend, and he won $50. So all of a sudden, the value of the dollar goes up through the roof.
Almost as fickle as the gold prices while FDR was as a president. It's just like he'd wake up one day and be like, hey, gold is worth this. That's what it was worth at that point.
So Jake says, I need some more Doge. Let's
buy some. It's up right now. I mean, you should have bought that massive dip they had. It went down on almost 29 cents or something like that.
It's at 54 right now. The latest dip took it down to it was like 40. No, it was 30. It was in the mid 30s. It was like 35.
It's still stable at 30. I mean, I remember watching it when it hit 6 cents and it bottomed out. Like people started selling like crazy when it hit 6 cents. Blew my mind. I was like, okay, cool. And when it dipped, I bought some more. So I was. There's money to be made if you have money to lose at this point, huh?
But the thing is, what I did is I took money. I already had a Robinhood account. I transferred some money over into Robinhood. That took forever, dude. They give you credit for like 2/3 of it, and that last third, you have to wait 5 days.
Oh, see, I hold so much with them now. I don't even have to, like, as soon as I want to buy something, they'll pull it out of my bank account, but they'll buy it for me instantly.
The entire thing.
Yeah.
It might take 5 days for the money to transfer, but the thing is now I'm hearing stories, and what I'm seeing stories of, like, banks. Let's just say Wells Fargo. I'm not saying it's Wells Fargo. That's the first bank that came to mind. Like, let's say you have a crypto account and you want to fund that account. So you do a transfer from your bank, Wells Fargo, to fartcoin.com to buy your crypto. A lot of people are saying that my bank is not willing to do business with them.
That's crazy, because a while back I remember USAA specifically allowing you to have a Bitcoin wallet.
See, I've got a Doge wallet, but I don't know how to fill that Doge wallet.
It's a little tricky, and I'd have to give you a walkthrough. It'd take about 3 hours to explain it to you.
Yeah, and that's why I just did it everything's through Robinhood. So it's basically, it's not like I've got Dogecoin in my pocket. It's kind of like I'm paying a broker to purchase and manage my reservation of Dogecoin.
This is probably the safest way. No, I will say it's risky, but it's probably the safest way to do it. Because you could be like me. I've got 16 Bitcoin floating around on a thumbstick somewhere that I can't find. So you do the math on that, and then I wake up in the morning and smack myself in the face because of that.
They're in Florida. It's on a thumb drive in Florida, and someone just erased that entire thumb drive to put on like some, I don't know, save some Word documents or something.
Some porn.
There's no room on this. Would you like to format? Sure.
There went a couple $100,000. Boom.
So, all right, we are at a reasonable time where we can take a break, and when we come back, I've got some crypto news, and it's good news. It's a good story to follow, and there'll be a lot of conversation. I enjoy seeing everyone kind of chiming in here on the chats, and thank you all for participating. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Hang tight.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Mia, you better hide your baby, or
You better hide that big ass forehead.
It's legit.
Is 3,000 coins? Imagine if that goes up to, let's just say, $1. That's then I've doubled my money.
Oh.
So I got to go to whoops, wrong one. 6. There we go. We're going to be talking about crypto here. Okay.
The cryptocurrency, the thing that people don't understand.
I don't think really there are people that do understand it, but I think the majority of people just kind of see it and going, all right, here's $100. I'm going to buy in. And Jake Ford even said he bought in. He's like 4.8 cents. Well, if it's
well, him saying that, I was about to say, someone did it was a couple months ago, but they said if you would have taken every one of your stimulus paychecks and you would have dropped it into Dogecoin,
yeah,
and this was a couple months ago before it even like hit the $50 mark. I think it was just pushing maybe 16, 17 cents, but like close to $300,000 you would have made.
That's a good chunk of change right there.
Yes.
But you got to figure, Elon is really talking, and the reason why it started jumping up from a fraction of a cent to a couple of cents is because Elon Musk says, I think it's cool. That was the only thing that he said about Dogecoin.
He said, I think Doge is cool. Like, I had a bunch of friends as soon as he said that tweet, went and bought it. A bunch of it. They made their money back. They took their money out, and they left whatever was sitting there, and they're holding on to it. I mean, I've made my money off of it, so I didn't lose nothing. So I have nothing to lose at this point. Just to hold.
I was wondering myself personally, and I even talked with Shipwreck last week on the air going, is the dealing in cryptocurrency, is that subject to capital gains? And the answer is yes.
Yes, very much so. People don't realize that.
Yeah, you do have to pay capital gains tax on it if you hold it for less than a year. and it all depends on what your income is. You're going to be paying probably 18 to 24% on the gains. So let's say you invested $1,000, now all of a sudden you cashed in, and your crypto bank wallet, whatever, is now 10,000. You're going to be paying, capital gains on the gain of $9,000. If you bought in at 1,000 and now it's worth 10,000, it is.
I find it crazy because you're getting taxed because you made some money. No, okay. Taxation is theft. By the way,
it is. And if you look at it in this context, you're talking about some person and several people that bought in at fractions of a cent and now they're cashing out and they're going from nothing. And I've got a story of a pair of brothers that went from. They were unemployed with nothing, and they sunk a couple $100 into cryptocurrency, and they made out like bandits. They're millionaires. Their families are all millionaires, and it's crazy. Anyway, let's get on to the story. And everything kind of revolves around Musk here. Elon Musk is following up his Saturday Night Live stint with another more practical pitch for Dogecoin. Canadian engineering firm Geometric Energy Corporation has struck a deal with SpaceX to launch Doge 1 CubeSat to the moon in the first quarter of 2022. As the name implies, it's funded entirely by Dogecoin, the first commercial lunar payload paid for with the cryptocurrency. That's pretty badass. The mission will launch aboard a Falcon 9 rocket. The 88-pound CubeSat will collect lunar spatial intelligence through a combination of cameras and sensors, according to the company. And yes, SpaceX is fully aware of the significance of the launch. Commercial sales VP Tom Ochenero said that the mission would demonstrate the viability of crypto beyond Earth and establish a, quote, foundation for interplanetary commerce. What a cool quote. Interplanetary commerce.
Legit. I mean, you're not going to be able to hand dollar bills between each other. You've got multiple planets as a species, so you have to come up with some sort of credit system. And hey, look, you're looking at it right now.
I was thinking about cryptocurrency as being a type of credit system. It's interesting that you mentioned that. That is kind of a credit system, and that's a. Yeah. And that's a level of worth of what cryptocurrency is. What I would like to see is, let's take that field down a little bit. Let's have 5 or 10 cryptocurrencies, not thousands.
Hey, make my money trading all kinds of cryptos. A lot of them are based on the same code, though, pretty much. So they're pretty much kind of like the same thing. I won't say the same thing, but they're kind of similar in a way.
They're the same as their fart bucks, but they're different because, like in Dogecoin, there's like an unlimited supply. They can just
U.S. dollars. There's a unlimited supply as long as you got politicians that want to keep printing money. So.
Yeah, as long as you flood the market with new cash. But Bitcoin there's a cap. There's a limit to the amount of Bitcoin that are available, which makes it more valuable. That's why it's $60,000 a coin. It's supply and demand. If there's a humongous supply, the value is going to be kind of low, especially if the demand's low. Like Dogecoin, unlimited supply, theoretically. But so there's not, so it's not really worth it. Some guy, I think I was reading a Reddit thread that had a guy that really just logically, and he educated everybody, just saying this is why Dogecoin is the way that it is. It's valuable, but its value should probably not exceed $1 ever because of, and he did a bunch of math. He showed a bunch of math. And there were, if you would value Dogecoin at the same rate as Bitcoin, there would be like more money than there is in the world.
No, that makes absolute sense at that point.
So future lunar missions will also rely on Dogecoin. Geometric Energy added. There's little doubt both sides see the chance for publicity here. Doge 1 is one large tech trend mashup. It does hint on how private spaceflight could change, though, and it's a reminder that SpaceX's interest in the moon extends beyond government contracts and tourism. The timing is very apt. Hours earlier, SpaceX broke out of its internal records by launching and landing a particular Falcon 9 rocket for the 10th time. Did you see the video of that?
Yes.
That thing fell to Earth fast as shit, and it just landed like boom.
They've perfected that.
That
I just like
that
to
was
see the heavy was the big boy actually like stick the landings like that.
That was it was so perfect, and that happened down in Shipwreck's part of the world. It's the most reuse any booster has ever had with the company. While reusable rockets are clearly nothing new at the company by this point, the news suggests that these vessels could be used for a very long while before they are needed to be retired. But then there's this, and this is the flip side of the coin, so to speak. On Wednesday night, Elon Musk tweeted that Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. He says, quote, "We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at a great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transactions are provided with a more sustainable energy. We are looking for other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy transaction." As soon as he said that, the crypto market tanked for the most part. After Elon's tweet, approximately $365 billion, the entire crypto market lost $365 billion because Elon said something.
He is a Bitcoin whale, if you don't understand that, but I think he's a Dogecoin whale too. He's that one whale that they keep talking about. I really do think he owns a crap ton of Dogecoin. So I mean, if crypto hurts, he's hurting at that point. No?
But at what point? I mean, if you are, let's say you trade stocks, when you buy and sell stocks, it's like, are you when you set up a brokerage account, the questions are asked, or are you a majority stakeholder, or in whatever, in this industry or that industry or this other industry, and you click yes or no. There are rules, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of rules as far as crypto goes.
That's the whole idea. That's why they call it crypto. The whole idea behind it is no one knows who's holding. It's just your number, your account number is your name at that point. You don't. If you make it known that, hey, I own this, then it's no longer crypto at that point. People can keep track of it. But if you keep yourself secret, aka these whales. I think there's a Bitcoin whale floating around somewhere that's worth like close to, I think it's like something like $23 billion or something like that.
That's so much
Keep it in
money.
That's insane.
That's I cannot visualize that much cash.
I wouldn't even know what to do with it. I'd probably just buy every neighbor in my neighborhood. Like I would just buy them. Here's a Rolex. Here's a Rolex. Here's a Rolex. I'd never run out of money at that point. So everyone's got a Rolex. I do the Oprah Winfrey. You know what I'm saying?
Oprah Winfrey. You get a Rolex. You get a Rolex.
You get a Rolex. You get a
So and we were talking about this earlier, Coinbase, and now this is going to help the Dogecoin crypto holders. Is Coinbase announced that in the next 6 to 8 weeks they're going to add Dogecoin transactions to their platform, which is cool. Really Coinbase has made multiple millions of dollars, millions of dollars just in dealing with other cryptos, and there's other businesses out there that actually will. Certain cryptos where you have to, the only way to get this crypto is to pay in crypto. So that's what
Binance is doing.
Binance,
if you want to trade, you have to buy our crypto to trade, to pay for the transaction fees pretty much.
So in order to buy these cryptos, you need to pay in crypto, and there's like this clearinghouse, and it's called Binance. but they're under scrutiny right now for things and stuff. So it's sketch. I guess the term is, it's very sketch. I think the entire crypto.
It's the Wild West right now is what I call it. I like to call it. This is the modern day Wild West, gold rush kind of thing.
Does the SEC have any say in how crypto is mined or traded, bought and sold?
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Leave the government out of it. That's the reason why it's a decentralized currency. I mean, every time I hear a big central, like I think the guy from Britain, I can't remember his name, but he was like the head of their central bank. He's like, if you're buying crypto, you're going to lose all of your money. I mean, okay, well, I mean, okay, you're the expert, you 90-year-old fart, but all right.
Yeah, but back when he was a kid, they were passing around, back way before, legit currency. Things were traded. It's like the barter thing. Everything started with bartering.
That's where it boiled down to. It's just the guy who wants chickens, I only trade in chickens. I might not have a chicken, so that's why we started with gold, and that gold used to be the standard. Whoever's king was printed on it was pretty much that's how currency began at that point.
Or even before that, it's like, hey, I need some chickens, but I've got 45 goats. I'll give you 2 goats if you give me 30 chickens.
There you go. And that's but if the guy says, I don't need no goats, what do you got? That's how the barter system works.
Or I can take those. I don't need goats, but I'll take those goats because I got my friend, Frank over here who really was wanting goats, and he's going to give me a bunch of milk from his cows. So I'm going to give, I'll take the goats as payment. Thank you very much. And then get a bunch of, it's whatever you hold value, I do a lot of work kind of like that on the barter system. I'll do some work inside people's houses, things that I know how to do. And guess what? I usually get a free brisket or something.
Yeah, I'll fix your lawnmower for a case of beer. That's usually how it is. Right. You buy the parts, give me a case of beer, I'll fix your lawnmower. That's my going price, is a case of beer.
Case of beer usually works. Speaking of beer, Yuengling is now the recipe for Yuengling has gone to a brewery somewhere here in Fort Worth, and they're going to start manufacturing, making Yuengling, which is crazy because that's usually that's an East Coast recipe. That's always been on the East Coast.
East Coast.
So now they're going to be brewing that and it's not just Fort Worth. There's other. We did a story several months ago about Yuengling. Spreading their tentacles out, and they're going to be in like 46 states, and Texas landed it. So there's going to be a brewery. It's like saying a rural brewery.
Brewery. Now you got me thinking about it. I usually just roll it off my tongue like it's nothing. Dang, dude.
Just fucked up Pooky. Anyway, we're going to get some Yuengling here on the shelves. At some point, I have no idea how long it takes to brew beer. So,
I used to have friends in Texas, like when I was living up in Virginia, and if I took a trip down to Texas, like, hey, bring me a case of Yuengling, I'll give you $50. I don't know if I was doing something illegal by doing that. It might have been breaking a bunch of laws, like bootlegging or something like that. But yeah.
But then you're trading something of value for something of value. You guys assign the value to it. It's worth.
I'd pay $14 for the case, make $50 off of it. Come on,
Pays for your gas. So yeah, I guess back to the crypto thing. I don't think the government needs to be in there regulating crap.
No,
they already have their little nose in the tent with doing the capital gains thing on it. But
I mean, that's if you report it. Here's the smart thing. It even said, like, I noticed on this year's tax return.
Yes.
Very, very top. Did you buy or trade cryptocurrency? All you got to do is say no. They can't prove if you own it or not. Well, unless you, of course, like, okay, I'm going to step this back a bit. If you have a legitimate wallet, your own personal wallet, they can't find out if you have it or not. But if you're like through Robinhood or Coinbase, I guarantee you at the end of the year you're going to wind up with a document from them. Tax
but I was going to say they better give me a 1098.
Yeah. If they don't, then whoops.
Yeah, I filed my taxes on February 21st. I just got, and I was due a refund. I usually am. It's usually small. Mine was a little bit larger this year because I did buy the vehicle that I drive, and there was an incentive for that. So it took almost 90 days, 80. It was like 83 days to get a refund.
That's insane.
I was kind of scared. I'm like, well, crap. Did I do something wrong? And there was no one that I could talk to.
The same thing happened to my mom, actually. Like she had, which I find really weird, is like she got her stimmies direct deposit. The last stimmy, they sent her a check because I don't know why. The same thing happened to my aunt. They all got direct. They just sent that. I don't know if it was. My conspiracy was let's send out checks to help the post service out is what I was thinking. But I got mine direct deposit, no problem.
That is kind of crazy, man. I got a stimmy, and I don't. These latest, the first stimmy was based on 2019 tax returns, in which I qualified, and my daughter was living here, so there was that. I filed my taxes for 2020, which nullified any qualification for any stimulus at all. I did not fall in when Biden got elected. It didn't fall into. So I got the first stimmy, and then I got the $600 or whatever.
I got you.
But when Biden took charge, when he became president, and he is president, he said, they kind of narrowed the scope for the recipients of the stimulus. I was way outside of that, so I did not expect to get anything, and I ended up getting double. I ended up getting like money for me and like with a kid. So I promptly shuffled all of that money over into a savings account, and I'm like, I think sometime the IRS is going to come begging for that money back.
Hopefully your savings account has the interest that the IRS charges, because it's crazy that the IRS can get away with charging interest.
You know what's crazy is when I did get my refund, there was interest added.
They paid you. They paid you.
They paid me more than what my tax return said.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. No?
It wasn't a lot. It was like $12, but it was more than it was
the
more.
Big whopping was, I think, whatever the Federal Reserve sets the interest at 1.5 or whatever it is.
It's something totally small. But yeah,
it's like
that's
every savings account that I have. Like they pay. I think they pay 0.01%. Something. I'm like, how can they get away? That's like highway robbery at this point.
Yeah, I get like $1 a month in interest across all of my accounts at my bank.
It's nuts.
So, if you're going to invest in crypto, if you want to buy crypto, is there the reason I bought my Dogecoin with Robinhood is because I already had a Robinhood account. It was a Robinhood account that I had never really used. It was already set up, so it was. I tried to go to Kraken, but Kraken was just
Kraken's legit. I've heard that. I don't use it. Like I said, I try to use Binance. I tried to get into Binance, but because I still haven't gotten an ID card that meets up with the state that I live in, because I just haven't gotten around to doing it because I'm a lazy bastard. But they won't accept me because like I've got all these proof of addresses, but then my ID card. So I was like, all right, screw you all. I went with Coinbase because I was already on Coinbase from the first time like Bitcoin, and I hit 20,000 or whatever. Holy crap, it hit $20,000, and I was like, well, I've got Bitcoin on it. I had Bitcoin holding on there, so I really wish I didn't sell it for the whole $1,000 that I made, but. Hindsight's 2020. But yeah, I just went with them. I mean, their prices are a little ridiculous
but they are openly traded on the market. So they fall under certain scrutinies, government scrutinies. So I trust them.
A little bit of regulation. A little bit of regulation isn't a bad thing.
Trust them a little bit. I just Binance, on the other hand, I don't know who runs Binance. All these other coin shops started popping their heads up all over the place when crypto started becoming a thing. I mean, I think Binance is not a U.S. company. I really think that a couple of these are not U.S. companies, and that freaks me out a little bit. And you just got to do your research. Do your research.
I think that China's probably really big into the crypto game. I think they're and you were talking about whales earlier, Elon Musk being a whale. I think China itself is a whale in the crypto market.
This is where he came out. This is why Elon Musk came out saying there's a better way to do this, is because China has these Bitcoin farms, these massive farms that are just producing heat, burning energy for no reason other than, the do transactions. And it's scary to think about it because, if a majority of one country is mining a certain crypto, but then another country is like citizens from another country are buying into that crypto, you're essentially buying into this foreign country at that point because they have the processing power to, maintain this coin. And it becomes centralized in a sense, where the whole idea behind it was supposed to be decentralized. So,
I definitely think that Eastern Europe, Russia involved, China they got their little tentacles deep into the crypto markets, and it's being influenced even more than Elon Musk could ever dream about doing.
Definitely. The cryptocurrency thing, I don't know, do you follow Glenn Beck at all? Do you listen to any Glenn Beck?
I used to a lot, but now it's just kind of, he's kind of cringe.
I mean, his chalkboard thing, his conspiracies.
His chalkboard thing is pretty cool because you can actually follow his thought process. But I think he's a little off the deep end as far as the conspiracy thing goes, and that's just my opinion. A lot of his stuff actually ends up being true, so therefore it's not a conspiracy.
He kind of went into this little spiel about cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, cryptocurrencies are all right. They're legit. You just got to do your research. But he started going into how the reason why this is from Glenn Beck. This is not from me, but how the government has been just printing money. Bert.
Yep.
They're planning on and they're working on going to a digital U.S. dollar. And what they'll do is kind of like the same concept of do you remember that what was the Gold Act in the 30s where FDR bought gold from people, outlawed gold pretty much, and said, hey, I'm gonna buy it from you for $20 an ounce.
If you want to buy it, you got to buy it from the government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. But then he turned around and said it's 30. Well, what they're gonna do with this is they're gonna turn the U.S. dollar into a cryptocurrency, digital currency kind of thing. But if you hold cash, you'll only get for every dollar you have in cash, you only get 90 cents of the digital currency, or 50 cents, depending on. So they can distribute wealth, and it gets really crazy when he starts talking about it. But I was listening to it, I was like, this is really deep and really scary in a sense because my savings account will instantly just be transferred over to this digital. All right, cool. It might be dollar for dollar. It might be, I might be losing money. But what they're going to do essentially is take all this cash and all this debt and liquefy it and pay debt off. It's crazy how he explained it. You'd have to listen to it.
That's a big shell game to me. Joseph Lowndes over in YouTube chat said that he got ADA and Ethereum Classic.
Ethereum Classic is legit. A lot of people made some money off of it. I'm keeping my eye open for Ethereum 2.0. That's coming out. Coinbase is
Ethereum now. There was this. Okay, if it goes over 5,000, they're like, hey, it's going to go over 5,000.
That's a Bitcoin killer. Ethereum is a Bitcoin killer. I really believe it. But
No, the Ethereum is going into 2.0 here soon, and like I was about to say, Coinbase is like if you hold stakes. So
What's ADA?
what's that?
What's ADA?
I can't even remember off. So they've all got names. You got Safe Moon, you got Safe Coin, you've got
Litecoin.
Coinbase has what's called USD coin, where it's a safe coin that's based like it's backed by US dollar, so it's always worth a US dollar. But if you hold their US dollar coin, you get 1.5% interest on it. Oh no, this financial thing go on for days with it.
And it means a lot to me, and it's important, but I'm just like, gosh, you really, not you, but it's just you lose my interest when you see the Glenn Beck thing. It captures my attention, but then it's gone. It's out of my brain.
We're gonna be on a digital currency. We won't use cash in the next 20 to maybe 50 years. I'll give it that. Let's give it to 2 to 5 decades. The U.S. cash is going to be something of the past. It's going to be a collector thing at that point.
Where people won't have. They won't be carrying cash. I hardly ever carry cash. I mean, I've got a debit card.
I do all the time. I used to not, but then I've found myself in shitty situations where like all the power's out, and well, here you go. Especially during like a hurricane situation, you should always pull at least $200 in cash to hold on to you during like a hurricane or a natural disaster is about to pop off.
Gotcha.
The cash helps you out.
Cash is always good, at least for now it is. I do keep cash, but I don't spend a lot of money, man. I work, I do a job, and everything that I send out, all the bills that I paid, everything's digital.
Yeah, well, we're already pretty much on a digital currency at this point. People don't realize it. That debit card is your digital currency.
That and credit cards, and what do? You pay your credit card bill with a bank transfer. The only reason I have a credit card is, I get airline miles. I got an American Express card. Pay it off every month.
Cash back.
Yeah, you get a cash.
That 3% cash back will help you out, and you're making money and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, but you gotta spend money, and that's what the thing is. They're enticing you to spend money, and you can get even more cash back if you shop at certain stores. They just want you to spend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it like I heard some guy talking. It was like he was a banker or something. Like, this is in the 80s, but he was talking about like the debit cards coming out because that was a new thing in the 80s was the debit card. He's like, don't use a debit card, use a credit card. Use their money and then pay them off with the money that you got in your bank account. Be responsible about it, but use their money, not your own money.
There was a lot of back when debit cards first came out, and I remember this because I'm old. You didn't have the protection. You didn't have consumer protection with a debit card that you do with a credit card. If someone snagged your debit card and then charged up $3,000, you're liable for $3,000 of debt, regardless of whether it's fraudulent or not. That has since changed. So now your debit card, which has the Visa stamp on it or the MasterCard stamp on it, has the exact same protections that a credit card does.
You get your what's it, FDIC or whatever, FDDIC? I can't even remember.
FDIC.
Like there's certain financial protections on that. I mean, that's legit though. I mean, that's why they went super crazy with throwing a
chip in there.
The military chip in it. Yeah, they went with that. Now some cards have got that weird. I don't know if you've seen the newer cards. I got a credit card that has it in there. I don't even have to swipe.
No, it's just you just tap it.
Tap it. Boom.
That's a lot. I mean, because if you scan your chip, if you insert it and it scans your chip, that's a little bit more vulnerable than just tapping it.
Well, that's why you. I mean,
I tap as much as I can.
Well, most wallets have an RFID protection.
Yeah.
Like mine looks like a little shotgun shell on it. But the idea behind it is that shotgun shell has like a blocker on it, and you can't scan my shit. So I mean, it works out at that point.
I was looking at getting one of those wallets, the RFID protected wallet or whatever.
Yes.
But I'm just like, man, those things are $300 a pop.
You can make one with duct tape.
Or aluminum foil.
Well, I mean, you remember the old duct tape wallets? Like the kids would be rolling around in high school, like, "Oh, I made my own wallet with duct tape." You know, those are actually RFID safe at that point. Huh?
Yep. And everyone thought kids were dumb in those days. They were on like
cool.
They were the tip of the spear, and they didn't even know it. All right, last story. We're talking about, since we're talking about money, we're going to go to fraud.
IRS.
How about COVID relief fraud? You know.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. You go on and tell the story, and I'll get into it.
The Secret Service has confiscated and returned to the states about $2 billion in stolen COVID unemployment relief funds. That's a lot of dara. Programs in at least 30 states received the money after the agency determined recipients had fraudulently applied for pandemic-related unemployment. God, that's a lot of money. This is a quote.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
This is typical of the cyber fraud that we deal with annually. It's just compounded based on the additional funds from COVID relief. It's not from COVID relief. It's from freaking taxpayers. It's from you. It's from me. The criminals are taking full advantage of the programs to try to steal from the COVID relief programs. The $2 billion returned to the states were a, quote, conservative estimate, and the pandemic-related fraud investigations are still ongoing. The Secret Service sent advisories out as early as 2020 to financial institutions to flag possibly fraudulent accounts where the money may have been deposited. Fraudsters typically stole the identities of people who qualified for unemployment benefits. In other cases, identities were stolen from people who may or may not have been unemployed or haven't filed for unemployment yet. That's freaking crazy, dude. Imagine that you're just going to shotgun shell. Let's just say I'm going to capture someone's identity, shotgun shell this entire thing, and file unemployment benefits and then collect them. I've never filed for unemployment. I did after I got out of the military. This is a long time ago. I did, but I never received anything because I was employed like immediately afterwards. So I never received anything. When I left, I was in Iraq in 2011, or 2010 to 2011 as a contractor, and I came back and I had moved states, so I couldn't claim unemployment because I went from Texas to Ohio. So Texas didn't want to claim me, and Ohio definitely didn't want to claim me because I had just moved there. So I didn't qualify for shit. But man, that's it's a shotgun blast, and
it's a conservative, a very conservative $2.8 billion. Like I say, my mom, love her to death, works at the jailhouse up here. It's just a detention center. It's not actual penitentiary. You know, these people are normally just like waiting for their trial or whatever it is. But there's some people in there, a couple sitting there on like a small sentence, like a couple years or whatever it is. But they figured a way out. She deals a lot with the females, but she was like, these women figured out how to apply for unemployment while in the jailhouse. Just stating that hey, I worked at this place or I worked at that place, and they were collecting that full $600 a week.
Damn.
While they were sitting in there, sitting in the jailhouse, and that's like fraud to hell and back. I was like, Mom, you need to report that shit. She was like, well, who do I go to? You know, I was like, but she hears them talking about it, and they've been playing like a lot of these girls sitting up in there, are probably men too. And you think about it, this is just one county's jailhouse. So you take all the counties in the United States, how many people have been fraudulently taking money from the system at that point? It blows my mind at this point.
There was a story that I read. I mean, folks on death row are collecting, benefit checks, these, COVID relief checks.
The COVID relief checks. I'm sitting there on death row getting to eat like a king until I die and live like a king till I die. And I'm stealing money from people. It's just nuts.
But is it? I mean, just, kind of playing the devil's advocate here.
I mean, I play the devil's advocate with the whole unemployment thing. I understand where people got unemployed. They worked, say, service industry, and they wound up getting unemployed because of, draconian lockdown shit. So our government, after we do our, it's typical reactionary, we're going to shut you down. Oh, crap, we need to do something, so we're going to pay you. And now they're paying these people, and they can't figure out why they won't go back to work. Well, it's because they're getting more money than they made while they were working.
And the jobs report came out in April, and there was 260,000 jobs added across the nation, and
people don't work. I mean, it's gotten to the point now, which is McDonald's is talking about increasing their baseline pay at that point. It's like, okay, well, this is working. This is better than a minimum wage at this point because, now you've got the government competing for jobs. So, I mean, either or.
There's companies out there that are hurting for employees because they're making more money, not working than they would be working. So there's a lot of
blame someone though. I mean, you came in with the devil's advocate. I'll come back in with the devil's advocate. Would you blame someone for sitting on their ass making more money than going to bust their ass for 40 hours a week? I mean, I'd sit on my ass to make more money at that point. And that's common sense at that point.
It makes financial sense, but is it the right thing to do?
I mean, that's you break it down to the morality thing of it. I mean, if I'm sitting at home making more money and I get to spend time with my family, I'm bringing more money home for my family, I'm going to stay at home at that point.
Are they charging income tax for that extended unemployment?
I don't know about the extended employment. I don't know about that, but normally unemployment does get hit with your standard income tax.
Correct. So I imagine at some point, Uncle Sugar is going to come back with their hand out going, okay, we helped you out, now help us out.
But no, it's like people are like, why can't we find anyone to work? I've been saying it, that unemployment.
But now you have companies like Chipotle here is now trying to get workers to come in, and they're going to pay them, $12 or $15 an hour to shovel food into your plate.
Yeah, well, that okay. Yeah, well, they'll pay them more, but guess who's going to pay more in the end?
The company.
The company's going to pay more, but it boils down. I mean, you're going to pay more for your Chipotle bowl.
Exactly. Companies never pay. Really, they're there to make a profit, and if they have to raise the price of their bean and cheese burrito, they're going to do it just to be able to make money. If they're going to have to pay their employees more.
I mean, it boils down to another thing too. I've been saying this forever about the price increases and taxes, and everyone wants to talk about, oh, these corporations didn't pay any taxes. Okay,
corporations don't pay taxes. Corporations don't pay taxes.
They shouldn't pay taxes, but there's a corporate tax,
they're charged a tax, but they make up for that money by increasing the price of their
product or their services. Yes. Yeah. So they're just tax collectors in a sense. So the higher you charge a corporation tax dollars, it's just increasing the price of the end product, making, the little guy who pays taxes for everything suck at that point.
This is totally off the hip. Spike Cohen had a really good statement. He said, during this gas crisis that we had been going through, especially over on the Eastern Seaboard, that the delivery of fuel to gas stations, a lot of the restrictions were being lifted, and taxes and fees for the delivery of the fuel to these certain places were being lifted. And he's just like, why was that there in the first place?
Oh, exactly. No, exactly.
People are just trying to make money, and it's the same damn thing as what the mob did in New York.
Yes, back in the
30s, shaking down people. Yeah,
protection money.
Now you're getting shook. Now you're getting shook down, and it's legal.
Oh well, that is taxation theft again. I got it twice tonight.
Yes, you did. Last story. We're going to talk about a potential dirtbag that I've held in high regard. Brett Favre. I'm a big fan of Brett Favre. I thought he was, a great quarterback, a Hall of Famer, and this is kind of a story out of the back, man. But man, Brett, don't be a dick. Write the check. So this story comes out of Jackson, Mississippi. Retired NFL quarterback and Hall of Famer Brett Favre has yet to pay back $600,000 that he received from the state of Mississippi for multiple speaking events that he never showed up to.
I'll just pay him back, dipshit.
Right? He promised to repay the state after an audit released in May of 2020 revealed $1.1 million had been paid to Favre's company called Favre Enterprises. The amount was part of a $94 million in welfare spending that was, quote, questioned by auditors who said that they either saw clear misspending or could not verify whether the money was lawfully spent. Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the United States, and the $94 million was earmarked for the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. Mississippi Community Education Center had contracts with the Mississippi Department of Human Services to spend money through the Needy Family program. The report said auditors found payments for sports activities and other events with no clear connection to helping needy people. Favre made an initial repayment of $500,000 to the state a few days after the report was released. That was fucking awesome. That was great. But Logan Reeves, a spokesman, said Tuesday that the auditor's office had not heard since from the Hall of Famer who lives near Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So he lives in Mississippi. After the quote, this is their quote, after the initial media dust-up, he stroked a check for $500,000 and gave a commitment to a voluntary commitment to repay the rest in the coming months, and then it didn't happen. So Favre's on the hook for $600,000, and he hadn't written that check yet. So I am
Cough it up.
Cough it up, Brett.
I mean, if I owe, $1,500 IRS, they'll arrest me and take my home and all kinds. Pay it up, man. Pay it up.
And this isn't a criminal thing. He's not under criminal indictment. He's not been accused of doing anything illegal. It's just, hey, this has been found. Brett, you didn't earn this money. Let's give it back. He gave back half of it. So he owes another $600,000, $500,000? No, $600,000, $1.1 million in total.
Little do we know that money's sitting in Duge and he can't pull it out.
Well, he's got to wait 5 days for the, and that's what I've been wondering. If there's this immediate spike in value, let's say that I bought at 4.8 cents, like Jake did. And then all of a sudden, let's say it goes up to $5 a coin. And Jake says, you know what? I'm happy with my gains. Let me cash out. Where does the brokerage get the money?
I don't know. At that point, they have to have some holding in it at some point.
Yeah.
They have to. They have to have some holding in it. No? No, we went right back to cryptocurrency.
We did. I was just, well, you kind of circled us back there. Thanks.
No, I just said that I was just making a joke, but I didn't mean to take it back.
Just kind of made me think. Let's just say all of a sudden there's this immediate spike. How do you get your money? Where is that real money? How do you turn how do you turn fart bucks into dollars?
What was the name of that company that got fucked up real bad by that GameStop short squeeze, Citadel or whatever it was that went bankrupt?
Okay.
So maybe they're just short selling Dogecoin. I don't know what the hell they're doing at that point. It makes
how
no
could
sense
you possibly short sell a fart buck?
How do you short sell a company? I mean, that's just, you're just betting against it at that point. Oh, that stock is going to go down. It's the same concept. I mean, value is intrinsic. I mean, GameStop is still sitting at like $140, and it was a bankrupt company like a year ago. And you do the math on that, no?
So as we end this conversation, Dogecoin is at 55.6 cents a share, or a coin.
Pump it up. Buy.
I'm not gonna sell. I mean, I'm willing to lose the money that I've invested, and it's gonna sit there. It's gonna sit there, and I do look at it every day, and I'm like, yeah, great, I'm doing well, or damn, I'm not doing well. But I'm going to hold on to my 3,000 shares, or 3,000 coins, for 50 cents a share.
20 years, we'll be sitting on a yacht somewhere and just talking about this shit. So let's do it.
Yeah, our WTF yacht with a what kind of dog is that? A
Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu. Wasn't there another crypto that was like a spin-off of Doge?
There's a Shibu coin, and that's actually doing pretty good from what I'm understanding. But
I don't know. It's all fart bucks to me, man. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just something that is really not valuable, but people hold value in it, and that's what's happening.
I will produce a video and share it to you, so you can. I'll do a whiteboard kind of thing, you know.
That would be good. Pull a Glenn Beck and share it with me. That would be awesome.
Yes, I'll share. I'll do that. I'll actually share it out to the nation. Everyone can watch me explain how this insanity works.
All right, everybody. I think we've reached the end of our time. Thank you very much for spending the beginning of your Friday with us. I hope you have a great weekend. Do you have any awesome quotes and stuff? Do you want me to do housekeeping first, and then we can do like send off notes and stuff?
Do it. You're the boss, man.
So on Monday, we've got Nicholas Ron coming on the Monday edition, Air Force veteran and CEO of Warrior's Next Adventure. Nicholas Ron will be on the Monday edition to talk about their cross-country adventures. Warrior Next Adventure helps veterans overcome PTSD through recreational therapy and new adventures. 18 May, Carter Bays. Join CQ and Radar on Pop Culture Warrior as they talk to the producer and writer known for How I Met Your Mother, Carter Bays. Carter will be talking about his career and what he has to work on in the future. This is a good one. I've never seen the movie, but Efren Ramirez is going to be on the show. Efren Ramirez has been working as a professional actor for many years. Initially, his career consisted as guest star appearances on television, and he appeared in diverse roles on ER, American Dad, Judging Amy, The District, Mad TV, and Scrubs. However, his most memorable portrayal of Pedro in the feature film Napoleon Dynamite that dramatically launched his career has been his hugely prolific acting career. Efren Ramirez currently resides in L.A. and New York, and when he isn't filming, he's mining Dogecoin. No, he might be, but he's spinning records as a guest DJ in clubs all across the country. He's published his first book called Direct Your Own Life. Efren Ramirez recently returned from a USO tour, visiting troops in Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Dubai, and Africa. So Pedro's going to be on the show. Vote for Pedro. I've never seen Napoleon Dynamite. I think I started watching it and I'm like, this is dumb.
Watched it twice, and it's not that funny of a movie, but that's just my opinion.
Maybe I think I'm going to have to go back and watch it again, just because we know the guy. So anyway, we're going to sign off for now. Pooky, you got any words of wisdom? I've got two.
Words of wisdom. I'm just going to take it back to the old playbook. If it looks stupid but works, it's not stupid.
It's not stupid. That's very awesome. So I've got a did you know? Did you know? Did you know the North Star is 4,000 times brighter than our sun? The light that we see when we look at the North Star was generated in the year 1587, and it's been traveling through space for 434 years.
That's nuts.
That's badass, isn't it?
That's good. That's legit. But I've never even heard it broken down to that point. 15. What you said? 15 what? Huh?
The light that you see coming from the North Star was generated in 1587.
So North Star Alpha Centauri or Alpha Prime?
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime.
I don't know.
All right. Alrighty. Great show, man. I love it.
So and here's another one. And this is kind of funny. I like this one. Your dog doesn't know that you make mistakes. When you get up and trip over him in the dark, he thinks that you just got up to kick him in the head.
That's exactly it.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you very much for being here. And come on back next Friday, but definitely come back on Monday for the Monday edition. This is WTF Nation Radio. My name is Koz, and this is my buddy Pooky there. We're signing off.
Ooh.
Have a good night.
Shots.
This is WTDO.